Good evening, Fernwood. It is your prickly Prince Valiant Neil, and it's time for us to take another visit to the prismatic world of Mary Hartman. Mary Hartman. Today we're watching episode 223 from February 9th, 1977. Let's recap. Kathy was awoken by a busload of tourists who were there to see the Marquette Rock, and George found the ordeal entirely chaotic. Mary Hartman popped in to catch up on some of the latest happenings, as well as Harold Clemens from the Fernwood Courier, who came to introduce the new DJ, who seemed very impressed by Kathy. However, all of this ruckus proves to be too much for George, who chases all of the tourists away and hopes that maybe he can have a minute of quiet. Next, we see Mary at a job interview, and the interviewer seems to think that only men should be able to do this job. Mary doesn't seem to think that men or women should be limited to the kinds of jobs that they can do. The interviewer sets Mary up in a competition with another applicant. Whoever can solve the block puzzle first will be qualified. Mary sits for a moment watching the man struggle with the puzzle, and then she drops down and solves the puzzle in a split second. Mary is immediately proud of her achievement, but the interviewer is less than hopeful. Then Charlie returns home to find it mysteriously tidy. Now that Loretta has returned, she wants to put more effort into housekeeping and would appreciate some time to get her head straight after having an alternate identity for a month. She says that she'd like to put off being a superstar for just a moment and enjoy her time in the home. And we end with Patty and Cookie still on the run. Patty would like to turn herself in, but Cookie says that if she does, then Cookie will put all the blame on her. And as Cookie gets herself to sleep, she tells Patty that tomorrow they're going to be robbing a grocery store. And everyone, it seems like we're on track for the beginning of a new era of Mary Hartman. Mary Hartman, I cannot wait to see where we're gonna go.
Mary Hartman! Mary Hartman!
Scrambled eggs. No. Lunch. Soda pop, soda pop. No. No soda pop. It's really come to this. Well, what's good for the gosling is good for the gander.
Morning, George.
Damn it, Martha!
Oh, please, George, please. I know how you like to yell and rant and rave and carry on like that, and I suppose that is part of a happy marriage. But couldn't we just argue later? I'm just so tired.
Well, I am sick and tired.
Oh, please, George. Would you give me some coffee? George, do you realize that I was on duty at that hospital all night long? And do you have any idea at all how sick people can drain you?
Well, I'll tell you something. It's the healthy people who are wearing me out. I have to get up in the morning all by myself, make breakfast for myself, get Kathy's formula fixed up by myself, make lunch by myself. Since when does an American husband have to become the family cook?
George, you're not the family cook. This family, each member of this family has their own special chore. Now, that is the rage all over.
Yes, and I suppose no sex is the rage, too.
Well, what do you mean?
I mean last night. I was all ready to give that Mayo-Linsky thing a test.
You mean foreplay is fair play?
Don't say that so loud, damn it. Yes. I was going to give it a whirl. But then, as soon as you can say lights out, the damn phone rings, you jump out of bed, you run off to the hospital.
Well, we can try it tonight. I have to go change my clothes now, for the tourists who are coming. We booked a tour in here this afternoon.
What tour? Now, I thought I settled all that Marquette Rock business yesterday.
Well, George, this was arranged before. I can't cancel it now. You don't want me to be arrested for a breach of contract, do you?
Well, it doesn't seem to bother you to breach our marriage contract.
Oh, good morning, Martha. Say, thanks for covering for me at the hospital last night.
Oh, anytime.
We had a wonderful night here.
Oh, thanks, honey.
I don't understand.
I'll see you soon.
You bet. Hi.
Is that coffee ready yet?
Am I to understand that woman slept here all night?
No, not all night, just part of the night.
I don't understand. You go and replace that woman so she can come over here and sleep with your father under my roof? I can't make licit love to my wife, but that blue-haired grandmother comes here and makes illicit love to the ancient mariner. And it is illicit. It's nothing but sickness under my roof. The whole world is crazy.
Sure it is. Just go along with it.
Listen, I don't need any lessons from you, you old libertine.
Okay, then you gotta find out for yourself that the most important thing is trying not to be bored.
Hi, Heather.
Oh, hi, Kathy. Mom's not home.
I know. I came over here to see you.
Me? How come?
Well, because your mother is bound and determined to start working sometime this week, and she asked me to keep an eye on you.
Keep an eye on me so far as boys are concerned, right?
Yeah, how'd you know?
That's what all mothers worry about.
Is there much to worry about?
Are you kidding? With this figure, who'd want to make out with me?
Well, you're starting to fill out.
I've got a long way to go. What's it like?
What?
Sex. It can't be what like they teach us in school.
Well, why not?
The way they make it sound in school. You might as well go back to cutting up frogs. I mean, they make it sound so clinical. They never really get in to what it's like. Kathy, what is it really like? I mean, you ought to know.
What makes you say that?
I hear Mom talking, and you really been around, haven't you?
Well,
You know what I think?
what?
I think Mom's jealous of you.
Oh, don't be ridiculous. Your mother is happily married to Tom.
Kathy, that's a marriage. It's all tied down. I mean, we never get any kicks.
Look, having affairs is not for kicks.
I thought kicks was the whole idea.
No, wrong. Love is the whole idea.
Love? Were you in love with all those guys?
Absolutely. At least I thought so at the time.
But you did get enjoyment, didn't you?
Yeah.
So I proved it. You did get kicks.
I see what you mean.
Yeah. How's a skinny kid like me supposed to get kicks or love or anything like that? I mean, look at you. You're beautiful. How's a skinny kid like me supposed to get a guy?
Well, Heather, maybe you're not supposed to just yet. And anyway, haven't you ever heard of personality?
I don't have one of those yet either. Kathy, do you think it would be wrong?
Look, what I think does not matter.
Yeah, but I'd still like to know.
Well, humans, people need more than I love you. See, words are nice, but touching is very, very necessary. And, well, see, the only thing I'm not sure about is exactly how much. And how old you are figures into how much you need.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, damn it, Martha. I told you I didn't want any more of that tourist nonsense in the house. I'm warning you. If I find one more tourist around that house, I'm going to do a double Brody with his head. Well, you're damn right I'm mad. Listen, I just got a letter at the plant this morning. It's a bill from the city for $75 for operating a tourist attraction. Now, that damn business of yours is costing more money than it's bringing in. I'm warning you, Martha. I don't want to see any more tourists in that house. That's my house. It's not Yellowstone National Park.
Hey, George, wait a minute. Aren't you going to have your lunch, huh?
Yeah, I'm going to go out and eat a sack of nails.
Mary! Wait a minute. What in the world are you doing here?
Surprise.
You kidding me? I mean, what's up?
Guess.
I can't.
I'll give you a hint. Who says sweet things in bed at night?
Who?
The answer is you.
Mary, come on. What does saying sweet things in bed at night have to do with your being here, huh?
Guess.
I can't.
I'll give you another hint. The other night, in bed, you said that you loved me so much that you wished that we could spend 24 hours a day together.
Well, yeah, but I...
So now can you guess?
No.
What if you're a woman and your husband said that he'd like to be with you 24 hours a day, but he was working the double shift so that he could pay off all of his financial debts, and that whenever he did see you, he felt that he couldn't really enjoy the time that he spent with you? What would you do?
I don't know.
Would you like another hint?
Yeah, give me another hint, yeah.
Guess.
Mary, come on, dude.
Okay,
Come on.
done. Turn around.
Turn around. What?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Stay turned.
Mary.
Okay? Stay turned.
Okay.
Okay. Tom?
What? Mary.
I'm going to be working on the assembly line. Now we can spend 24 hours a day together. Coffee, sweetheart?
Watch that basketball game on TV last night? Huh? I said you watched the game on TV last night.
Uh-uh.
Hey, I know you. Didn't I see you over to Lou's Diner the other day?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Hi. Hi.
And what you doing here?
Bolton.
But you're a woman.
The old girls don't hide that. Gee, that makes me happy, thanks.
All right, Mrs. Hartman,
Yeah.
let's get with it now.
Fine.
Now, your job is to bolt these to those.
I gotcha. Gotcha. You make automobiles here?
We do. Those are parts of the automobile.
Now, then, I see what it is. We're missing a steering wheel and a fender. Do you have a fender?
That's another department.
Oh, is that? It's another department? That's interesting. That's very interesting. Well then, can I ask you a question here?
What?
What if you were to take this, and what are these called? Sorry, I just can't hear with the noise here. Could you just turn up the noise? I just can't hear with the noise. Okay. What if you took what's this called here?
These.
These. Okay. What if you took these and it wasn't bolted to what's this called here?
Those.
Those. Yeah. What if you took these and it weren't bolted to those? What
The
would
car
happen?
would go out of control and people could be killed.
Good. Glad I asked.
Now, let's get to work. It's a simple operation.
Uh-huh.
You just watch these two men.
Okay. Oh, tiny. Gee, I didn't know he was here. He's awfully quiet. He's a big fella, don't you think?
All right. Keep the line moving.
How you doing?
Okay. Huh. Been on the line long here?
Oh, yeah. You?
First day.
I know. Well, first day's the roughest.
Oh, yeah? When's lunch?
4 hours.
What'd you bring?
Tuna heroes.
Oh. Tom and I bought romaine with lettuce.
You can buy a ding-dong in the cafeteria.
Oh, yeah? I bought a Yankee Doodle. But that's a good thing to know. You want to switch?
What?
Well, how about if you flip and I bang for a while, you know, just to break it up a little.
Can't do that.
No?
Ain't done that way.
So, Tiny, how things going? How long you been working here? That's good. Hey, you looked at me. That's good. Tiny, is there something that you want to tell me that you can't tell the others, you know, like a secret or something like that?
I can't stand this job. You want to know why? It's just day after day, year after year, minute after minute. Flip, turn, pound. Flip, turn, pound. I could have been a doctor, a singer, lots of things. But here I am. Here I am. I'm miserable.
What you want to go and do a fool thing like that for? You know, he could have stood there forever in a daze, just working away, never once thinking about his problems. Looky here. Why don't you just do us a favor, okay? You put in your 8 hours, and you collect your pay. But don't rock the boat.
Hey, listen, Tiny, don't worry. Everything's gonna be fine now, 'cause I'm here now, okay? Don't you worry. Oh, God. Men must be given a chance to cry. Doesn't mean they're babies. Tiny? Tommy told me to tell you that he wants you to have his Yankee Doodle for lunch. So you can have like a little extra treat of your own, you know?
Yep. So, what's new, Tiny?
Nothing.
Yeah.
I'm so hungry I can't see.
What do you mean?
I'm not used to wearing dark glasses at night.
Hey, leave 'em on, leave 'em on.
Part of your disguise, stupid.
Aw, Cookie, I'm frightened. Come on, let's get out of here, please.
It's a cinch. No sweat. Let's just cool it. You got everything straight?
No.
Shape up, will you? I mean, all you gotta do is go in there, empty the cash register while I keep those jokers covered. Now, you dig?
Yeah, I did.
Let's go.
Oh, I can't.
Why not?
There's a man in there, and he's the father of my best friend.
Okay, he's never gonna recognize you. Now, come on. Let's get it on.
You're gonna hold him up with a carrot?
This is supposed to be a gun, bozo. I mean, you thought it was a gun when we broke out of jail, didn't you? Okay. Let's go.
Okay.
Reach! This is a stick-up. I said reach!
What do you got in here now, Al? A bunch of weirdos? Or are they selling something?
I don't know. I never saw him before.
I don't believe this town. I mean, this is really the Boondocks. I mean, these guys don't even know how to be held up. How do you live in a place like this?
It's a nice, quiet, respectable...
Later. Reach! Damn it! This is a stick-up! Look, if you guys don't put your hands up, I'm gonna blow your stupid heads off!
Hey, I think this is for real.
Oh, it's real.
Well, it's more like it. Okay. On the floor. Face down. Move it! Move it! Go on.
Where?
The money, stupid, the money!
Please don't be unkind. Oh, food.
Ow!
Oh, I'm sorry.
The money, stupid, the money!
I didn't hurt you, did I? Oh. Oh, pretzels.
Okay, come on, let's split.
Okay. You see Mary, tell her I'm all right.
Okay, let's go. Butter, come on.
Oh, butter.
Move it.
Oh, butter.
Okay, where's the take?
What?
How much money did we get?
I don't know. I didn't get a chance to count it yet. But listen, Cookie, I gotta tell you something. I have not been really very proud of some of the things I've been doing lately. I have not been.
Let's see the take. Maraschino cherries. Come on, let's get the money.
Oh, butter.
Drink chips. What? Good for one free drink at the Capri Lounge.
Oh, Cookie, I'm sorry. I guess I'm not very good at this. I never did a robbery before.
The fuzz, come on, let's go. Go!
Well, that was not at all what I expected. And we'll get to that. But we start with, well, George trying to make himself some lunch. And he is struggling. Which, it's not that hard to make a bologna sandwich or whatever he was making. But he really is inept at all of those skills because he's just expected someone else to do them for him for however many decades. And Martha shows up from the hospital. She's exhausted too. And she's doing volunteer work, so I don't understand exactly why it's so necessary for her to be there. And we find out that it is because Grandpa and Barbie needed some time together. George is somewhat outraged at this because he's George. I get that George and Martha needed time together. I wish the family talked a little bit more about what they needed, but then we wouldn't have a show. And then we get a scene between Kathy and Heather, really that is focused on the idea of sexual pleasure. And what Heather says is that sex education in school is clinical, which I think would be an improvement upon what you might have seen in Mary and Kathy's eras of schooling. I don't know how much it has improved since then in schools. I suppose it depends on what part of the country you're in. I know that there are resources now that are better, but I think even still the topic of sexual pleasure isn't really addressed. And I think that is because some folks maybe don't want sex to be about pleasure. And there is more than pleasure to sex, obviously, but if you ignore that very important component, then what are you doing? Kathy admits that she has had pleasure in her sexual life and consequences. I mean, she doesn't talk about the consequences, but we know that she has had them, at least the pregnancy and the baby, who is thankfully in the background. But it does seem like Heather is curious about what all the fuss is, and also curious about when her body will change and become more boy attracting, I guess. I feel like this was a conversation piece. This scene could be a great example of a conversation that might not have been happening in the 70s, or might have been starting in the 70s. You know, the topic of whether sex should have pleasure involved in it. Because, you know, it's a thing you do with someone else. It could be fun. And speaking of fun, a place where they're not having it is the factory line. And that is to say, George and Tom in the factory break room, and Mary shows up, and of course, just like the last time, it's a shock to the system for me and for Tom. I didn't realize what that job interview was, but it seems like this new direction is Mary working the line, and it's a bit of a shock. It's cool to see that she has a place to explore, unlike the last two jobs where she was fired like within seconds. Tom is a bit shocked, and you know, he was supportive of her getting a job. It's just that the thought of, I suppose Mary could have spoken to Tom about it, although she took his sort of romantic whisperings about wanting to be around her 24/7 a little too on the nose. Tom might not have been thinking so literally when he said it. Even well-adjusted couples need space sometimes, and we don't know that Tom doesn't need space. Mary is excited to jump into a new spot. She has been looking for direction, and I suppose I wish it wasn't a surprise for Tom, but again, what would the scene be if it wasn't a surprise? It would be a talk, and they wouldn't go straight to the factory line, which is where we end up, and we see Mary in between Tiny and that one guy who was hanging out at Lou's place so much we still don't know his name. He's somewhat less awful here than in most of the scenes that we've seen him, and what I thought initially was that Tiny was being judgmental of Mary, but Mary engaging Tiny in conversation got him to say something that he probably really needed to say, which was that this job makes him miserable. And Mary doesn't know any better. She's been on this job for 3 minutes at this point, and Tiny is revealing something that he probably needs to talk about with a therapist, because yeah, that kind of job, I think nowadays those jobs are done mostly by machines. What got me about this scene was the amount of emotion, because every time we've seen Tiny, he has been a jerk to everyone in the break room, to Tom, to Charlie, mostly Tom and Charlie, but that's his role. He's the heavy. And what we see when we get a closer look at him is a person who is miserable, who just doesn't want to live anymore. He didn't say that, but that's what it felt like to me. That this position was eating at his soul. And our unnamed ruffian says if you hadn't shaken the boat, then we would have just gotten through our day. Which is one way of looking at it, but maybe not so healthy. And then we come back to Tiny and George at the Capri Lounge with their waiter, or their bartender, who I think one of the bartenders at the Capri Lounge has been named once, and I don't remember what that name is. But then Cookie and Patty show up to rob the place, and At first, I thought, oh, these men who see women as being low on the totem pole, just not taking the robbery seriously. And yeah, that is literally what happened. But then they feel the carrot and are fooled by it, just like Patty was. And then the robbery happens. And then they get out and find out that everything that they got, except for a little bit of popcorn, was utterly worthless. And Patty and Cookie are on the run still and just as desperate as ever. We have a lot of things to be looking at here, and it's a different kind of nuance than the last couple of months of this show. The conversation, I think, is just starting for what we are talking about. Like, I thought that the questions might be Mary in the workplace and whether she could do things. She seems competent enough at the job, but now it's like, what is this workplace? That it's eating people's souls, or how you survive out on the road. It's just a different thing, and the sexual pleasure conversation is continuing, just with different people in a different arena. So everyone, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for leaving your feelings and impressions down in the comments. Thank you for visiting the prismatic world of Mary Hartman again with me, and we will see you tomorrow night in Fernwood.